Oh yeah! Huh. It is I, your host, PoGokeRo, for another Pirates broadcast. So the title screen. PoGokeRo's Pirate Broadcast. Billy's Immolation. Sounds hot. Alright. I don't know. What am I doing? Hey, what's up? Pshing, it's PoGokeRo. Sporting the clean shaven look today because, you know, I think I went for a long time without shaving. So, like, it was a new deal for me. And I found out that since the last time I'd shaved, like, white hairs had grown, like, gray, or I guess they're gray. Gray hairs grew in through my beard. And man, those hurt being cut for the first time. So it was a bit rough, but once I got it going, I'm like, oh, okay, now it's cool. It's cool. So yeah, check it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just standing here looking lame. I'm gonna go somewhere. Looking not lame, but foolish. Looking foolish. Foolish, Robert. Let's head to Grandmother Station. I want to work on that a bit, or at least stand by it. Ugh, pardon me. But then, oh wait, hold on. Let me turn down the music a bit. Oh, it already is. Hey, check it out. All right. So yeah, today has been pretty historic. Billy B, AG Billy B, did what he was destined to do. He self-immolated. He set himself on fire. He went before the Senate Judiciary Committee. This is important that it's the Senate because that means the GOP controls it. And I think the guy was Senator Grassley. Anyways, one of the GOP people controlled it. So that means they control like everything, the chairman. So yeah, the Democrats only had like little 5-minute sections to work with, and they got no help from the Republicans. Yeah, they got him to, because the Democratic senators know things that the rest of us like don't know or probably do know but don't bother to read, like the book or Mueller's book. Like, if you know everything around them, all the circumstantial evidence around it, if you know all of it around it, and you see someone's trying to cover a lie, you can make them take ridiculous positions. So it was funny. Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, is trained to do this, and she did it to Billy Barr. She made him like stand in ridiculous places, contradicting himself, walking into lies, like all sorts of stuff. All the senators did a good job, actually. I didn't watch it, but I heard. So I was at work. But yeah, it was historic. I guess I should watch it on YouTube, but it's not the same when it's not live. So yeah, Bill Barr testified. He said that he made the decision to acquit Donald Trump, to exonerate him, more or less, to not press charges, not to move forward, and he hasn't even read the evidence. He doesn't know what's going on. Like, he didn't know that Manafort had given insider polling information to a Russian agent, a Russian. He didn't know this, but yet he exonerated Trump from all wrongdoing. Well, you think how could he possibly do that? And then you got to remember, he wrote a memo about it. That was his job application. He wrote that 18-page memo saying, well, yep, the president's, like, whatever the president does is legal. So it oh. Nice. Neat. I like the trees. I need more. More trees, more trees. Got a horse over here now. That's nice. Oops. Okay, I gotta watch that. There's nothing there. Yeah, I got a horse in here, you know, but like I couldn't put him outside. It just didn't seem right. It's a good horse too. Okay. I need to fix this. Cause like, yeah, but like I don't like it up high. I'd rather just have it flush. Which means I need to kick this out that way, and I want him to kick out further out, not so back down over here. Get kicked out like over here, and then have it peel out that way. And then the cart view right there, you can take it like normal. Yes, I'll figure it out. Okay, let's sit back here. Wow. All right. What was I talking about? Billy Barr. Billy Barr. I don't know. He is supposed to be the Attorney General. The Attorney General is supposed to be the firewall between the Department of Justice and the President. Because if that firewall isn't there, then what happens is the President can influence directly the Department of Justice, and then the Department of Justice no longer serves justice, it serves the President. Do you see why you have to have that firewall? You have to have that barrier that separates the President from the Department of Justice. Because if the President even touches the Department of Justice, like too much, it looks like it might look like he's influencing it to make it go a certain way. And he's not supposed to do that, because the Department of Justice serves justice. It does not serve the President. It serves justice. It serves the law. So the last time a president tried to do this, to use the Department of Justice as his own private army, his own police force, because that's what Trump wants to do. Trump has been saying to everyone, yo, it's over now. Let's turn around and let's go after the people who investigated us. He wants to, he's like, let's go look at Hillary. Let's go look at Trump or Obama. Let's go look at Mueller. Let's go look at all these people that were against me. Like, he's already saying it like a dictator. Like, wow, that's crazy. Okay. But that's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to have that barrier that separates the Department of Justice from the President, and that barrier is the Attorney General. The Attorney General, because the President, even though he is not supposed to influence the Department of Justice, he's still responsible for it. He's the executive. He's the boss of this whole department. That whole branch, he is up there. He's the number one. The buck stops there. So the Department of Justice is not under the judiciary branch. No, it's under the executive branch. So that means the Department of Justice is the responsibility of the executive, of the President. But again, the President cannot directly influence the Department of Justice, lest it seem like he's influencing it, and that way it loses its independence and to serve justice. So but he has to interact with it because it's under his wing, it's under his command. So the way he does that is via the Attorney General. The Attorney General is important because the Attorney General is picked by the President like nominated, but they have to be confirmed by the Senate, so that everyone's on board that this guy's cool to maintain that barrier, that separation. Because if ever that were to be breached, that separation, then no one would trust the police or the feds. No one would trust them, because they turn into an not an independent agency serving justice, but an arm of the president. Oh no, they're no longer just neutral agents. They're political actors of the president. They're a private army of the president. Ooh, like that, and then your trust breaks down, and that just gets bad. You don't want that to happen. So what has happened is, here, let me break this down, because this is an important day. Because before today, yesterday, last night, I'm gonna close this window. I'm cold. Ugh. Okay. All right. Last night, yesterday, I'm not sure what time, but right before Billy Barr was going to testify before Congress, Mr. Robert Mueller, I don't know if he released it or it leaked or what, but it was printed in the Washington Times and then in the the Washington Post and then the New York Times. Robert Mueller had sent this letter to Billy Barr like back in March before he gave his big speech. And it was the second letter he had sent him. So Billy Barr, in this letter, Mueller is saying, "Hey, dude, you're not representing my work accurately. It's not being portrayed correctly in the media, and I'm pretty upset. You're wrecking my reputation here, Billy Barr," is what he said. You're wrecking my reputation here, Billy Barr. You need to come clean. Tell them what it says. Tell them, like, I gave you these summaries, and then you release your summary. What's up with that? No, dude, release this. This is what I gave you. In this letter, that's what he said, right? And then what did Billy Barr do? Pfft, get out of here, Mueller. So Billy Barr went in front of the cameras and again lied about everything. And man, that stuck in people's heads, what Billy Barr said. Even though we all knew it was false, it stuck in people's heads. A lot of people are buying it, or a lot of people bought it. The ones that, well, not a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but from my sample, older white guys tend to buy it, what Billy Barr said, and they run with it. Now, I don't really blame them, right? Because hold on, right? Hold on. I just watched a clip. Because, okay, so I had an interesting conversation, right? I was trying to explain the significance of Billy Barr's testimony. Oh yeah, I'm not done yet. Okay. So Billy Barr said, "Nah, screw you, Mueller. I'm gonna lie," and so he did. And then he set forth this false narrative, and then right before he was gonna testify under oath, this letter is released, and then now, because Billy Barr already said perjury, it's on video, it's on camera that when Billy Barr purged himself in front of Congress. A congressman asked him, "Hey, does Mueller approve of your summary?" And Billy Barr said, "I don't even know. I don't know. I have no idea." Which is a lie, because a couple days before, Billy Barr got that letter from Mueller, and it's even written on there when he got it. And so he knows that this is the letter saying, "Hey, dude, come clean. Tell him what's up." And Billy Barr lied right to the senator's face. Says, I don't even know. I don't know. When of course he knows. We have the letter to prove it now. Yeah. So he went before a friendly committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee today. He got asked one set of questions by the Republicans and a different set of questions by the Democrats. The Republicans wanted to. Okay, so the Democrats wanted to know about why Billy Barr took so long to release the report. Well, not that one. That too, but also if the president had asked Billy Barr to investigate someone, like, hey, I want you to investigate these people now, because that's breaking the law, right? The president's not supposed to do that. That's obstructing justice. The AG is supposed to be separate from, or the president's supposed to be separate from the Department of Justice. And if Trump is ordering Billy Barr to basically break the law, which is, do you see where he wants to go? He's like, I want you to investigate Hillary Clinton, but Billy Barr couldn't say that. He didn't want it. He couldn't say that. I mean, of course that's what happened, but Billy Barr couldn't say that. So he danced around it a lot. but he got caught. He stumbled a bunch of times. So yeah, it was pretty amazing from what I read. And I mean I could go through tweet by tweet. Who did I read today? The horse whisperer. I read his live tweet of it, and it was really good. I give him props. Horse whisperer on Twitter. Yeah, he live tweeted it, and it was great. Yeah, what else was going on? So Billy Barr got caught in all these lies, and it was in front of just regular senators, and it was at a friendly committee on friendly territory in Republican-controlled hands. Tomorrow, he was scheduled to appear before the House committee. It was a subpoena to appear before the House committee, which is controlled by Democrats. And they hired lawyers to ask all the questions. So they were going to destroy him. They were going to wreck him and make him so guilty. It was going to be awful. So he just bailed. He's just like, I'm not showing up, which is illegal. So tomorrow, he's not going to show up, and then Nadler is going to call the vote to hold him in contempt. It's going to fall on party lines. All the Democrats will say yes, he's contemptuous, and all the Republicans are saying no, he's not contemptuous. And then there's more Democrats than Republicans, so it'll pass. So then there's you move to arrest him. But then Billy Barr appeals it in court and sues in court. So then moves to the courts. So then it goes for weeks. So he's not showing up. So what's going to have to happen is, now that he's not showing up, they got to have Mueller come by. And he's coming by, I think, May 15th. I think that's 2 weeks from now. And Mueller, then we're going to hear from Mueller what he thinks about what all has gone down. And we already know he's not happy. He tried to play by the rules, right? And they wouldn't let him. So I don't know what's gonna happen. But it's obvious that a coup was going down, or is going down. So So that was like the big crazy news today. Okay, so as that was going down, I hope this is not too loud, this music. As that was going down, I had a chat with a gentleman who's older. And I've had these chats with older gentlemen a few times, and it always ends the same way. Because they always redirect to Hillary Clinton. Every time. Whatever is happening now doesn't matter, because we got to look at Hillary Clinton. Okay. Now, I could not for the life of me figure out why this was going on. And then for kicks, just for fun, I saw that Hannity had a segment tying the Clintons to Russia. And I'm like, oh really? So I'm like, I'll give it a listen. So I listened to it. I listened to Hannity. Man, that stuff is pure propaganda. My goodness. It is an entirely separate world from the fact-based world that we work in. Because Hannity's segment, it was like crazy conspiracy based off of snippets from other right-wing media rags. Like it was Judicial Watch that they pulled from. It was like the Washington Examiner they pulled from, and they just little snippets. And then they decontextualize a speech by Hillary Clinton. They just take snippets of it and then draw a new contextualization around it so it means something different. And I'm like, man, that's amazing. Like, that's a lot of work. Like, oh wow, it was like incredible the amount of reframing they did. It was like a wholly separate collage. It was incredible the amount of propaganda that goes into it. Because like I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, man, this guy's a smart guy. I don't understand how this could happen. And then I watched this Hannity segment. Wow, dude, they're in on it hard. It's fully a separate world, and it's peppered with derogatory hooks at the lefties, Democrats, right? Creates like non-stop barrage. It's total conditioning. They don't even try to look like they're neutral. It's ridiculous. So if you watch Hannity and you go along with his narrative, because it's easy to go along with him, right? Because it looks pretty official. And the way he presents it, it looks like he believes it, or he tries to sell it. I mean, I can see that he's acting. It's pretty scripted. But like, if you're like an older person, you're not gonna notice that kind of thing, right? It's gonna be periphery. Maybe your vision's not 20/20, or you're not like totally focused on watching it, but you're listening. Or maybe it's just like on the side of your vision, like. Or maybe you're not even looking for it, so you're not going to see it. Like, I'm sure there's things about me that I don't notice, that other people notice. That if they try to poke me, I'll be like, oh weirded out by it, because it's happened. So, yeah. So, yeah. Hannity is full-on propaganda. Oh my goodness. Like, this is how bad it is. Hannity referenced some redacted section in the Mueller report that was redacted. And so the context I read about it was that this Russian spy was offering to sell Jared Kushner bad information on Hillary Clinton on the campaign, and so he offered a snippet of it, and then that snippet is blacked out redacted on the report. It's page 109. And then Jared Kushner says, yeah, I don't want it. It's old news. And then it passes on, right? This is when the spies are trying to like negotiate like stuff, dirt for assistance or whatever. Because Russia and the Trump campaign did a dance. Like, it's pretty interesting to watch or to read about. Hannity tells you the page 109 of the Mueller report. And so Hannity says, oh, you know what this is about? It's about phone sex. phone sex. And it probably is. It's a part about Bill Clinton having phone sex with Monica Lewinsky. and Kushner's like, yeah, I don't want that. That's old news. I want something fresh. And that part was redacted. But Hannity,
You can see it when you look
Hannity took that part
or when you turn on your
and said, oh, this redacted part is about phone sex, and then made a whole segment that blew up out of that phone sex and tied it to Hillary Clinton's emails, which were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop and were also sent to Obama's White House. It's a huge conspiracy with the Russians. Hannity does this, dude. I was watching it going, man, this is incredible. It's incredible. It's a whole separate world. I like, oh man. Oh man, that's weaponized propaganda. That's like military grade propaganda. Damn. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. Like, I couldn't believe it. I just didn't understand how it could happen. And yeah, now I can see how it can happen, how it happens. It's really intense. If you ever watch it, it's really intense, like brainwashing propaganda stuff. Oh man. Okay, so wait, before I forget. Okay. So there was this guy named Yashar Ali. He was super cool. He used his Twitter platform. I didn't know who he was. I had no idea. But I saw, all of a sudden, I just started noticing this guy promote the charity link. I forget what link it was. The GoFundMe link, I think, to rebuild the 3 churches that were burned down in Louisiana. And he used his big platform to spread awareness, and it really just took off after that. It was amazing. And at first I was like, oh yeah, Muslim guy, but that was me being like bigoted, because I don't know if he was necessarily Muslim. I just assumed he was Muslim because it was it looked like an Arab name, and I don't actually know, but it looked like it, and he looked like an Arab guy from his picture. So I don't actually know, but I'm just going for what I see. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if a Muslim helped out a Christian church? Wouldn't that be cool? And so I tried to make it something that maybe it wasn't, to make it more cool. But then I have to but it wasn't until much later that I realized, no, that's not cool to, like, no, maybe I follow him on Twitter now, and I'm like, he might be Muslim, but that's not his deal. that's not his defining characteristic. No, he's a cool guy. He's a super cool guy. Like, obviously it's his heart. It's huge, because he used his giant platform to help people he had no idea. He didn't even know. He just helped them. That's awesome. Like, he's awesome. Yeah, huge heart. But yeah, he might not be Muslim. So I apologize for assuming that. But he's a cool guy, dude. He's super cool. Like, he used his platform. Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. So Yashar Ali, thank you. Sorry for assuming. But I hope we're cool. Alright. So here's another weird thing that I've noticed. Alright. So when I was in Carson City, there was this diner. I like diners. I don't know why. Nostalgia? I don't know. I used to spend a lot of time in Denny's when I was like a teenager. Late at night at Denny's. Oh boy. Okay. So I would think for diners. I don't know why. Well, I just told you why, because I was young. But yeah, diners. I like diners. So there was a diner in town in Carson City, Nevada, called the Cracker Box. Which I'm like, yeah, that's cool. It's cool. It's a Cracker Box. You know, like Cracker Jacks. I remember Cracker Jacks. You know, Cracker Jack boxes. I remember those. Like, you know, when I was a kid, get the prize inside. Yep, I remember. So like, but then I started thinking, oh, wait a minute. That can mean something. Wasn't sure. I didn't know. I had no. I couldn't really ask anyone. I had no idea. Anyways, and I like to go there because I like diner food. I don't know. So then, now I'm here in Salem, and there's another restaurant that I go to. It's a diner, and it's nice, and that place is called White's. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to distinguish. Is it just a name, or does it mean something? For real, I don't know. Help me out. I don't know who to ask. So I'm asking everybody. Because I don't want to contribute to an establishment that promotes white supremacy. I will not frequent that establishment. But I don't know. What's in the name? I don't know. I don't know. It's an old restaurant, right? It's been there forever. I don't know the story behind it. I assume it was the owner's last name, but I don't know. And Cracker Jacks, Cracker Box. It was Cracker Box. That's what it was called, Cracker Box. Cracker Box. It was a building that was a box, and it was painted like on the side like a cracker box. Like, does it mean something, or am I just being paranoid? That's my question. I don't know. I mean, the food was good. All right. Billy Barr. Diners, older guys. The spell of Sean Hannity. My goodness. My goodness. I can see how they get tricked. How do you get them out of that? Because it's intense. My goodness. I would think you would like get them just not to listen to it, and then get them to listen to something else. But then their world, they have no context for anything. The world's totally separate. They'll be like totally lost about what's happening. For real, they'll be really lost about what's going on. If they switch from Fox News over to mainstream media, there's no connection. I mean, because the Mueller report in Foxland points to a Clinton conspiracy. It's wild. It's wild. I'll drop off this stuff. Soul Sand. Oh, I can make it mine. What time is it? It's only a half hour in. It's a pirate broadcast. Oh yeah. So, well, this is kind of important, right? Like, things are going down. We got a pretty clear picture that the Attorney General is corrupt. Like, super clear. We also got word that, I mean, Mark Rubio even said that the Russians got into the voting system in Florida. So if we're betting on the vote in 2020 to save us, I'm not so sure. I mean, like, I'm hoping it has to be a super tidal wave. Like, everyone has to come along. But man, I don't know. If we don't win it, like, that's awful. And I think we need to impeach. We need to do it. It needs to get done. That he has to be the weakest possible going into that election if we have to go through an election. And impeachment is the way to do it. Just non-stop hearings all day. And if I read someone who said that this is the way to do it. I don't know who said it, but if on Twitter, if the Republicans refuse, they stonewall like Barr. Just ignore them, start the court things, and then keep rolling. Get the next person going. And instead, in their stead, read the Mueller report about what went down in that particular area. That way, everyone gets the bigger picture. So, I mean, here, dude, I got I can easily go another half hour. Let me read to you. Let me go up over here. Let me read to you the Mueller report, executive summary. Right? It's super easy. Let me turn off this music. Actually, yeah, here. This way you have no excuse, right? La la la. I'm gonna turn down the. No, I'll leave it going right here. All right. Executive summary to Volume 1. Russian social media campaign. The Internet Research Agency, IRA, carried out the earliest Russian interference operations identified by the investigation, a social media campaign designed to provoke and amplify political and social discord in the United States. The IRA was based in St. Petersburg, Russia, and received funding from Russian oligarch Prigozhin and companies he controlled. Prigozhin is widely reported to have ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. And redacted. In mid-2014, the IRA sent employees to the United States on an intelligence gathering mission with instructions redacted. The IRA later used social media accounts and interested groups to sow discord in the US political system through what it termed information warfare. The campaign evolved from a generalized program designed in 2014 and 2015 to undermine the US electoral system to a targeted operation that, by early 2016, favored candidate Trump and disparaged candidate Clinton. The IRA's operation also included the purchase of political advertisements on social media in the names of U.S. persons and entities, as well as the staging of political rallies inside the United States. To organize these rallies, IRA employees posed as U.S. grassroots entities and persons and made contact with Trump supporters and Trump campaign officials in the United States. The investigation did not identify evidence that any U.S. persons conspired or coordinated with the IRA. Section 2 of this report details the office's investigation of the Russian social media campaign. Russian hacking operations. At the same time that the IRA operation began to focus on supporting candidate Trump in early 2016, the Russian government employed a second form of interference, cyber intrusions, hacking, and releases of hacked materials damaging to the Clinton campaign. The Russian intelligence service, known as the Main Intelligence Directorate of the General Staff of the Russian Army, GRU, carried out these operations. In March 2016, the GRU began hacking the email accounts, the GRU began hacking the email accounts of Clinton campaign volunteers and employees, including campaign chairman John Podesta. In April 2016, the GRU hacked into the computer networks of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, DCCC, and the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. The GRU stole hundreds of thousands of documents from the compromised email accounts and networks. Around the time that the DNC announced in mid-June 2016 the Russian government's role in hacking its network, the GRU began disseminating stolen materials through fictitious online personas, DC Leaks, and Gustafer 2.0. The GRU later released additional materials through the organization WikiLeaks. The presidential campaigns of Donald J. Trump campaign, turn this down. The Trump campaign, the presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump campaign, showed interest in WikiLeaks releases of documents and welcomed their potential to damage candidate Clinton. Beginning in June 2016, redacted, harm to ongoing matter. Forecast to senior campaign officials that WikiLeaks would release information damaging to the candidate Clinton. That's probably Roger Stone. I bet you, dude. Beginning in June 2016, Roger Stone forecasted. Oh no, that's Assange maybe. Forecast to senior campaign officials that WikiLeaks would release information damaging to candidate Clinton. WikiLeaks' first release came in July 2016. Around the same time, candidate Trump announced that he hoped Russia would recover emails described as missing from a private server used by Clinton when she was Secretary of State. He later said that he was speaking sarcastically. Redacted, harm to ongoing matter. WikiLeaks began releasing Podesta's stolen emails on October 7, 2016, less than 1 hour after a U.S. media outlet released video considering damaging to candidate Trump. Section 3 of this report details the office's investigation into the Russian hacking operations as well as other efforts by the Trump campaign supporters to obtain Clinton-related emails. Russian contacts with the campaign. The social media campaign and the GRU hacking operations coincided with a series of contacts between Russian campaign officials and individuals with ties to the Russian government. The office investigated whether those contacts reflected or resulted in the campaign conspiring or coordinating with Russia in its election interference activities. Although the investigation established that the Russian government perceived it would benefit from a Trump presidency and worked to secure that outcome, and that the campaign expected it would benefit electorally from information stolen and released through Russian efforts. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. The Russian contacts consisted of business connections, offers of assistance to the campaign, invitations for the candidate Trump and Putin to meet in person, invitations for campaign officials and representatives of the Russian government to meet, and policy positions seeking improved U.S.-Russian relations. Section 4 of this report details the contacts between Russia and the Trump campaign during the campaign and transition periods, the most salient of which are summarized below in chronological order. 2015. Some of the earliest contacts were made in connection with a Trump Organization real estate project in Russia known as Trump Tower Moscow. Candidate Trump signed a letter of intent for Trump Tower Moscow by November 2015, and in January 2016, Trump Organization executive Michael Cohen emailed and spoke about the project with the office of the Russian government press secretary Dmitry Peskov. The Trump Organization pursued the project through at least June 2016, including by considering travel to Russia by Cohen and candidate Trump. Spring 2016. Campaign foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos made early contact with George Mifsud, a London-based professor who had connections to Russia and traveled to Moscow in April 2016. Immediately upon his return to London from that trip, Mifsud told Papadopoulos that the Russian government had dirt on Hillary Clinton in the form of thousands of emails. 1 week later, in the first week of May 2016, Papadopoulos suggested to a representative of a foreign government that the Trump campaign had received indications from the Russian government that it could assist the campaign through the anonymous release of information damaging to candidate Clinton. Throughout that period of time, and for several months thereafter, Papadopoulos worked with Mifsud and two Russian nationals to arrange a meeting between the campaign and Russian government. No meeting took place. Summer 2016. Russian outreach to the Trump campaign continued into the summer of 2016 as candidate Trump was becoming the presumptive Republican nominee for president. On June 9th, 2016, for example, a Russian lawyer met with senior Trump campaign officials Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and campaign chairman Paul Manafort to deliver what the email proposing the meeting had described as official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary. The materials were offered to Trump Jr. as part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. The written communications setting up the meeting showed that the campaign anticipated receiving information from Russia that could assist candidates Trump electoral projects. But the Russian lawyer's presentation did not provide such information. Days after the June 9th meeting, on June 14th, 2016, a cybersecurity firm and the DNC announced that Russian government hackers had infiltrated the DNC and obtained access to oppositional research on candidate Trump, along with other documents. In July 2016, campaign foreign policy advisor Carter Page traveled in his personal capacity to Moscow and gave the keynote address at the New Economic School. Page had lived and worked in Russia between 2003 and 2007. 2003? Come on. 2003 and 20 and 2007. Upon returning to the United States, Page became acquainted with at least two Russian intelligence officials, one of whom was later charged in 2015 with conspiracy to act as an unregistered agent of Russia. Page's July 2016 trip to Moscow and his advocacy for pro-Russian foreign pro-Russian foreign policy drew media attention. The campaign then distanced itself from Page and by late September 2016 removed him from the campaign. July 2016 was also the month WikiLeaks first released emails stolen by the GRU from the DNC. On July 22nd, 2016, WikiLeaks posted thousands of internal DNC documents revealing information about the Clinton campaign. Within days, there was public reporting that U.S. intelligence agencies had high confidence that the Russian government was behind the theft of emails and documents from the DNC. And within a week of the release, a foreign government informed the FBI about its May 2016 interaction with Papadopoulos and his statements that the Russian government could assist the Trump campaign. On July 31st, 2016, based on the foreign government reporting, the FBI opened an investigation into potential coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign. Separately, on August 2nd, 2016, Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort met in New York City with his longtime business associate Konstantin Kilnick, whom the FBI assesses to have ties to Russian intelligence. Kilnick requested the meeting to deliver in person a peace plan for Ukraine that Manafort acknowledged to the special counsel's office was a backdoor way for Russia to control part of eastern Ukraine. Both men believed the plan would require candidate Trump's assent to succeed, were he to be elected president. They also discussed the status of the Trump campaign and Manafort's strategy for winning Democratic votes in Midwestern states. Months before that meeting, Manafort had caused internal polling data to be shared with Kilnick, and the sharing continued for some period of time after their August meeting. Wow. Fall 2016. On October 7th, 2016, the media released video of candidate Trump speaking in graphic terms about women years earlier, which was considered damaging to his candidacy. Less than an hour later, WikiLeaks made its second release. Thousands of John Podesta's emails that had been stolen by the GRU in late March 2016. The FBI and other government institutions were at that time continuing their investigation of suspected government efforts to interfere in the presidential election. That same day, October 7th, the Department of Homeland Security and the Office of Director of National Intelligence issued a joint public statement that the Russian government directed the recent compromise of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations. Those thefts and the disclosures of the hacked materials through online platforms such as WikiLeaks, the statement concluded, are intended to interfere with the U.S. election process. Post-2016 election. Immediately after the November 8th election, Russian government officials and prominent Russian businessmen began trying to make inroads into the new administration. The most senior levels of the Russian government encouraged these efforts. The Russian embassy made contact hours after the election to congratulate the president-elect and to arrange a call with President Putin. Several Russian businessmen picked up the efforts from there. Kirill Dmitriev, Chief Executive Office of Russia's Sovereign Wealth Fund, was among the Russians who tried to make contact with the incoming administration. In early December, a business associate steered Dmitriev to Eric Prince, a supporter of the Trump campaign and an associate of senior Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Dmitriev and Prince later met face-to-face in January 2017 in the Seychelles Islands and discussed U.S.-Russia relations. During the same period, another business associate introduced Dmitriev to a friend of Jared Kushner, who had not served on the campaign or on the transition team. Dmitriev and Kushner's friend collaborated on a short written reconciliation plan for the United States and Russia, which Dmitriev implied had been cleared through Putin. That the friend gave that proposal to Kushner before the inauguration, and Kushner later gave copies to Bannon and incoming Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Manafort picked Tillerson. On December 29, 2016, then-President Obama imposed sanctions on Russia for having interfered in the election. Incoming National Security Advisor Michael Flynn called Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and asked Russia not to escalate the situation in response to the sanctions. The following day, Putin announced Russia would not take retaliatory measures in response to the sanctions at the time. Hours later, President-elect Trump tweeted, "Great move on the delay by Vladimir Putin." The next day, on December 31st, 2016, Kislyak called Flynn and told him the request had been received at the highest levels, and Russia had chosen not to retaliate as a result of Flynn's request. On January 2017, members of the Intelligence Committee told President-elect Trump on a joint assessment drafted and coordinated along the Central Intelligence Agency, FBI, and National Security Agency. that concluded with high confidence that Russia had intervened in the election through a variety of means to assist Trump's candidacy and harm Clinton's. A declassified version of that assessment was publicly released the same day. So in other words, hey everyone, Russia wanted you to win, and they tried to make it happen. Between mid-January 2017 and early February 2017, 3 congressional committees, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and the Senate Judiciary Committee, announced that they would conduct inquiries, or had already been conducting inquiries, into Russia interference in the election. Then FBI Director James Comey later confirmed to Congress the existence of the FBI's investigation into Russian interference that had begun before the election. On March 20, 2017, in open session testimony before the HPSCI, Comey stated, "I have been authorized by the Department of Justice to confirm that the FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election, and that includes investigating the nature of any links between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government, and whether there was any coordination between the campaign and Russia's efforts. As with any counterintelligence investigation, this will also include an assessment of whether any crimes were committed." The investigation continued under then-Director Comey for the next 7 weeks until May 9th, 2017, when President Trump fired Comey as FBI Director, an action which is analyzed in Volume 2 of the report. On May 17th, 2017, Acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed the special counsel and authorized him to conduct the investigation that Comey had confirmed in his congressional testimony, as well as matters arising directly from the investigation, and any other matters within the scope of 28 CFR squiggly line 604A, which generally covers efforts to interfere with or obstruct the investigation. President Trump reacted negatively to the special counsel's appointment. He told advisors that it was the end of his presidency, sought to have the Attorney General Jeff Sessions unrecused from the Russia investigation and to have the special counsel removed, and engaged in efforts to curtail the special counsel's investigation and prevent the disclosure of evidence to it, including through public and private contacts with potential witnesses. Those and related actions are described and analyzed in Volumes 2 of the report. Do I have to keep going? Let's see. Dude, that's so long. I got so much more. This is like a halfway point, right? Let me think. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Well, the next part is the special counsel's charging decisions. So what he's saying here is, let's see. First, we're going to see if it's a crime. Then if we can get enough. Oh man, he goes through this so much. Yeah, there's a lot, dude. Well, I'm almost done. Let's see. Yeah, I'm almost done. I can do it. The special counsel's charging decisions. In reaching the charging decisions described in Volume 1 of the report, the office determined whether the conduct it found amounted to a violation of federal criminal law chargeable under the principles of federal prosecution. See Justice Manual, squiggly line 9, 27, Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The standard set forth in the Justice Manual is whether the standard set forth, there it is, in the Justice Manual is whether the conduct constitutes a crime. If so, whether admissible evidence would probably be sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction, and whether prosecution would serve a substantive federal interest that could not be adequately served by prosecution elsewhere or through non-criminal alternatives. Section 5 of the report provides detailed explanations of the office's charging decisions, which contain three main components. First, the office determined that Russia's two principal interference operations in the 2016 presidential elections, the social media campaign and the hacking and dumping operations, violated criminal law. Many of the individuals and entities involved in the social media campaigns have been charged with participating in a conspiracy to defraud the United States by undermining through deceptive acts the work of federal agencies charged with regulating foreign influence in the U.S. elections, as well as counts of identity theft. See United States versus IRA. Okay. Separately, Russian intelligence officers who carried out the hacking into Democratic Party computers and the personal email accounts of individuals affiliated with the Clinton campaign conspired to violate, amongst other federal laws, the Federal Computer Intrusion Statute, and they have been so charged. See United States versus Netshow, and then hidden stuff. Second, while the investigation identified numerous links between individuals with ties to the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign, the evidence was not sufficient to support criminal charges. Among other things, the evidence was not sufficient to charge any campaign official as an unregistered agent of the Russian government or other Russian principal. And our evidence about so they can't charge them as being an official of the Russian government or the Russian official. Well, no, because they're American. And they're not going to sign a piece of paper. So, and they're not going to give it to you. Let's see. Further, the evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with the representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. Okay. Third, the investigation established that several individuals affiliated with the Trump campaign lied to the office. Several individuals affiliated with the Trump campaign lied to the office and to Congress about their interactions with Russian-affiliated individuals and related matters. Those lies materially impaired the investigation of Russian election interference. The office charged some of those lies as violations of the federal false statement statute. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pled guilty to lying about his interactions with Russian Ambassador Kislyak during the transition period. George Papadopoulos, a foreign policy advisor during the campaign period, pleaded guilty to lying to investigators about, inter alia, the nature and timing of his interactions with Joseph Mifsud, the professor who told Papadopoulos that the Russians had dirt on candidate Clinton in the form of thousands of emails. Former Trump official organization attorney Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to making false statements to Congress about the Trump Moscow project, redacted harmed ongoing matter. And in February 2019, the U.S. District Attorney for the District of Columbia found that Manafort lied to the office and the grand jury concerning his interactions and communications with Konstantin Kilimnik about the Trump campaign polling data and peace plan for Ukraine. Almost there. The office investigated several other events that have been publicly reported to involve potential Russia-related contacts. For example, the investigation established that interaction between Russian Ambassador Kislyak and Russian campaign officials, both at the candidate's April 2016 foreign policy speech in D.C. and during the week of the Republican National Convention, were brief, public, and non-substantive. And the investigation did not establish, did not establish, gotta watch that word, that one campaign official's efforts to dilute a portion of the Republican Party's platform on providing assistance to Ukraine were undertaken at the behest of candidate Trump or Russia. The investigation also did not establish that a meeting between Kislyak and Sessions in September 2016 at Sessions' Senate office included any more than a passing mention of the presidential campaign. The investigation did not always yield admissible information or testimony, or a complete picture of the activities undertaken by subjects of the investigation. Some individuals invoked their Fifth Amendment right against compelled self-incrimination, and were not, in this office judgment, appropriate candidates for grants of immunity. The office limited its pursuit of other witnesses and information, such as information known to attorneys or individuals claiming to be members of the media, in light of internal Department of Justice policies. Justice Manual, blah, 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 blah. Some of the information obtained via court process, moreover, was presumptively covered by legal privilege and was screened from investigators by a filter or taint team. Even when individuals testified or agreed to be interviewed, they sometimes provided information that was false or incomplete, leading to some of the false statement charges described above. And the office faced practical limits on its ability to access relevant evidence, as well numerous witnesses and subjects lived abroad and where documents were held outside of the United States. Furthermore, the office learned that some of the individuals we interviewed or whose conduct we investigated, including some of those associated with the Trump campaign, deleted relevant communications or communicated during the relevant period using applications that featured encryption or that do not provide for long-term retention of data or communication records. In such cases, the office was not able to corroborate witness statements through comparison to contemporaneous communications, or fully question witnesses about statements that appeared inconsistent with other known facts. Accordingly, while this report embodies factual and legal determinations that the office believes to be accurate and complete to the greatest extent possible, given these identified gaps, the office cannot rule out the possibility that the unavailable information would shed additional light on or cast in a new light the events described in the report. That's volume 1, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not going any further. I'm tired. That's a lot of reading out loud. So I see a lot of hedging in that language. It was talking about. Let's see. I gotta go look over here. I see a lot of hedging in that information in that statement. Like it painted a damning picture, of course, just by itself, because the campaign kept lying about their contacts with the Russians, but Mueller couldn't firmly establish it with like evidence because everyone lied about it. But we have all these suspicious contacts and all this other information surrounding it. So don't you worry, dude. There's ongoing investigations, like 12 to 18 of them. I don't even know how many. That's how many Barr said. So there's a lot. So yeah, things are moving forward, but I have to temper my anger towards certain groups of people who I've been conditioned by watching Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity is like disgusting propaganda. It's disgusting. Oh man, it's so bad. It's so awful. But it is like the highest quality propaganda that money can get you right now. So capitalism, best propaganda. How crazy. So all right, guys. You have to remember, though, I was talking earlier to someone about why should we grant the right to vote to felons? other than the fact that like the justice system is racist, but just on the principle that once you served your time, it's done. You shouldn't be punished anymore. And that means there's redemption. There's a reason you should continue being good. It's not to just get out of prison, but so that you can rejoin the rest of us in being like a part of society. And the person I was talking to was argued against it. He's like, no, you should never ever get that right ever again. And I was like, that's terrible. You don't want to offer redemption? You want to like just cut off redemption? Wait, let me look at you. Oh, you're a white male. Okay. You want to cut off any path of redemption? You sure? You sure? You gotta, yeah. So there's the mother executive summary, and it hides behind a lot of language. It's not a slam dunk. Like, but that, but it paints a really terrible picture, and we don't even know what's going on with the counterintelligence because that's all redacted. So, and it's interesting to see how Sean Hannity is trying to spin it as propaganda for his side. So bad. Wow. Well, now I've read the executive summary, and if you listened along with me, so have you. All right, I'm gonna stop. My head's a little spinning. I need to probably breathe more. All right, thanks for tuning in. For posterity. All right, PoGokeRo out. Peace. Stop streaming.